Miami campus.
And later on, Palestinian protests at the University of Minnesota result in nearly a dozen student arrests.
All this and more on today's show. UMTV News starts right now. Hello and welcome to UMTV News. I'm Billy Brightman.
And I'm Max Keller. Thank you for joining us. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is visiting areas of the Middle East this week. Today, he's in Israel. He's pushing for a ceasefire agreement in wake of the recent death of Hamas's leader. That visit comes at a time when experts seem skeptical Israel and Hamas will come to the table.
It does open, perhaps, the door just a bit.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel today. His department says he hopes the death of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar will promote Israel and Hamas to negotiate.
We feel strongly that there is an opportunity to move the ball forward as it relates to getting a ceasefire accomplished.
Many analysts seem skeptical Blinken will secure a deal. They say it could be difficult for Hamas to negotiate during a transition, and there's no guarantee a new leader would want peace.
Operationally, it doesn't change much. Hamas will put someone else in his place. They won't announce who he is, so he can't be targeted effectively, but the war will continue.
Meanwhile, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying nothing would deter his country's fight against Hamas and vowing to push forward until the end.
I don't hold out too much hope, but events on the battlefield do affect diplomacy.
The State Department says Blinken's trip is worth the effort. It says a ceasefire is in the best interest of the U.S., the region, and those in Gaza.
Nobody in the U.S. government is going to stand in front of you and say that we are satisfied or find the humanitarian situation in any part of Gaza satisfactory.
The State Department says Blinken also wants to convince Israel to find a diplomatic solution with Hezbollah in Lebanon.
It's been over 1 year since the October 7th attacks by Hamas in Israel, and fighting is still raging on in the region. Every semester since the attacks, the Arab Students Union at the University of Miami has held a Candlelite Vigil to honor the Palestinian civilians killed in the fighting. For some students, the cause hits close to home. Silence taking over one of the most popular areas of the University of Miami campus as students honored the memory of the almost 45,000 Palestinian and Lebanese people who have died since October 7th, 2023. students like senior Amar Arakat honored the memory of their homes as well.
I was born in Jerusalem and I grew up until I was about 7 or 8 years old. All of my family practically are in the West Bank in Palestine right now, and whenever I get the chance during the summers, I regularly go over there and visit as well.
While the present conflict has been most active in the last year, Amar says his family has felt the effects for almost a century.
My grandmother is 90-something years old, 93 years old right now. She was there when the British were there and they had occupied Palestine. She was there as soon as the Zionists occupied Palestine as well. She had never lived a day of her life not under occupation, and she's getting to the point in age where, she's slowly starting to fade out.
The Arab Students Union holds multiple candlelight vigils a year, so students like Amar can stand alongside their community and hold each other up through their grief.
You wake up every day and you wonder, when is this going to stop? Who is going to put a stop to this horrific thing that's happening to my people?
At the Arab Student Union's first vigil, each of the 100 candles behind me represented 64 lives lost. Today, they each represent 445 lives lost. Students, faculty, and community members in attendance heard from multiple speakers from various organizations who told stories of their own families they did not know personally, and called for an end to the fighting.
Let Gaza live!
Honestly, the event was absolutely beautiful. In order to be able to, I'm glad that we were able to mourn the loss of life at such a high scale.
And even while the fighting continues on, Amar and his family are not giving up hope anytime soon.
No matter what to them, even against the odds, they will. There's nothing they can do but just keep going forward. Honestly, living over there, you have to persevere.
The Arab Students Union is currently running an Everything Watermelon fundraiser. The watermelon is a common symbol of Palestinian support. All of the proceeds from the fundraiser will go towards medical aid for Palestinians. If you would like to support or learn more, their next event will be on Tuesday, October 29th at noon in the Breezeway outside of the campus store.
Around a dozen of University of Minnesota students are in jail following pro-Palestinian protests on Monday. The protesters entered an administrative building on campus. School officials sent out an alert on Monday afternoon indicating that the protesters had caused property damage and were blocking anyone from exiting or entering Morrill Hall. At least 11 of the protesters were taken into custody within a few hours of entering the building. The group tried to rename Morrill Hall to Halimi Hall in remembrance of a 19-year-old Palestinian TikToker who died during an Israeli airstrike.
The former CEO of the popular clothing company Abercrombie & Fitch has been indicted on 16 federal counts of sex trafficking and international prostitution. Police say that Mike Jeffries and 2 associates allegedly coerced men to perform sex acts for them, promising modeling and career opportunities at Abercrombie.
To anyone who thinks they can exploit and coerce others by using the so-called casting couch system, this case should serve as a warning. Prepare to trade that couch for a bed in federal prison.
Jeffries was the CEO of the company from 1992 to 2014. Abercrombie has not released a statement on any of the accusations so far.
At least 7 people have died after a ferry dock gangway collapsed in Georgia. That happened on a dock on Sapelo Island where crowds gathered for a fall celebration. There were at least 20 people on the gangway when it collapsed. 8 people were rushed to the hospital with 6 critically injured. Engineers and construction specialists plan to investigate why the walkway failed.
It's time for a short break now.
But when we come back,
We will introduce you to one studio owner who is raising money to support low-income families through the power of dance.
plus, we will tell you what local organizations are doing to uplift vulnerable communities affected by Hurricanes Milton and Helene. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart, and so they need you to stand with them.
The University of Miami officially has a new president. Interim president and former Board of Trustees member Joe Echeverria was officially appointed as the 7th president of the university on Friday. Echeverria is the first ever alumnus to become president. The chair of the University of Miami Health System Board of Directors, Stuart Miller, wrote in a statement to the university community, "Joe has proven himself to be an extraordinary leader who cares deeply about the university that transformed his life. He seeks to ensure that the university continues to provide similar opportunity for the next generation."
And speaking of the Miami Hurricanes, Canes football gave us another nail-biter this weekend. They had a 1-point lead against the Louisville Cardinals late in the 4th quarter, and there was a lot to talk about. So let's take a look at some of the highlights. We'll go right here to the first quarter where you'll see one of the best throws in college football this year. Cam Ward evading pressure, gets out to the left side, back left corner of the end zone. How about that dot to Jacoby George? Miami takes a 10-7 lead, and then back on offense. Cam Ward decides to go up and over. Whoop! Excuse me, Sam Brown will take a stroll to the end zone. Hurricanes extend their lead 17-7. In a shootout, Miami would end up getting the victory on the road at Louisville to remain undefeated in ACC play and across play this season. They're up to number 6 in the country.
After the damage caused by Hurricanes Milton and Helene in Florida this past month, some local organizations came together to donate emergency supplies to the Global Empowerment Mission for families in need. On Saturday, Run Little Havana, along with the Hollywood Run Club, the Miami Freedom Project, and Clean Miami Beach, hosted a run and donation drive at Miami Ironside. Attendees donated goods like water, hygiene products, and non-perishable foods, and then participated in a group run and yoga session. The Miami Freedom Project hosted a tabling at the event to inform voters on taking climate action and working together as a community.
How can we bring people together to collect donations for these impacted families, and then as well speak on the next step, which is voting for local representatives, state representatives that will continue to prioritize the health and safety of families in Florida, take climate action, and take climate disaster seriously.
Participants who donated goods were entered in a raffle to win prizes at the end of the event.
And speaking of charities, one local dance studio owner is making an impact in the local dance community. Angela Safone joins us live with more. Angela, what's this woman doing?
Thanks, Max. It's always amazing to see so many people making an impact in their community, and Katie Gahn is doing just that through her new foundation that keeps people dancing and smiling. Since the young age of 6, Katie Gahn has called one dance studio in Davie, Florida, her second home. She says she knew dance will be in her life since the first day she stepped into Dance Explosion.
Dance just kind of gave me this sense of belonging that I think I was really looking for as a kid, and then I just got hooked.
Over 20 years later, and dance is still a big part of Katie's life. She's now the owner of that same studio where she fell in love with dancing, allowing her the opportunity to share the love she felt to the next generation.
I think dance is something that can really save a kid from their life at home, whether that be, getting away from school or their issues at home. I think dance is really like their saving grace. And so it was really important to me to make sure that these talented young kids have the opportunity to dance.
Between tights, jazz shoes, and many other things, dance can come at a very hefty cost. But Katie seems to raise the bar, making it affordable for many other families through her new foundation.
I kind of started seeing all these issues arise. I knew it was time to start the Dance Explosion Kids Foundation.
The mission of the foundation is to support talented, aspiring dancers so they can continue pursuing their passion, because dance does not come cheap. Families can pay up to thousands of dollars a month between dance classes, competition fees, costumes, shoes, and more. But this foundation is making that a little easier for some.
To have a foundation available to help families meet that cost demand and this become a reality and a real possibility is not only impressive, it's a giant gift.
And although the Dance Explosion Kids Foundation is new, it has already made a difference in families like Rebecca's.
For the foundation to fill the gap of me feeling like I'm failing to meet the needs that my child has, that is the most precious gift ever. And I am infinitely grateful because I cannot provide that,
Katie Gahn has raised over $25,000 so far for the Dance Explosion Kids Foundation, but she has a bigger goal of reaching $35,000 by the end of this year. You can help by donating at their website listed below or attending their upcoming Halloween fundraising party at Dance Explosion in Davie, Florida. Reporting live for UMTV, I'm Angela Safone.
Thank you, Angela. And Max, all that dancing is making me hungry.
I agree. Well, I have good news for you then, Billy, because DiGiorno is bringing back its Thanksgiving pizza, which the company calls a fan favorite. The frozen pizza includes many of the trappings of Thanksgiving and pizza, all in each slice. That includes roasted turkey, gravy, green beans, cranberries, crispy onions, a bit more of mozzarella and cheddar cheese on a Detroit-style crust. The pizza does not have diced sweet potatoes, which were included in last year's inaugural version. It's available nationally in Kroger's families of stores, including Harris Teeter and Ralph's, from October 30th through November 28th, and it costs about $10.
I'm gonna be so honest, Max. All those things together on one pizza isn't really my speed, but I heard they sold out last year, so.
Well, I'll have to try it because I still love me a good DiGiorno pizza.
A lot of people do apparently, but that's all we have for you on today's episode of UMTV News.
Thanks for joining us and have a fun and safe homecoming weekend.